Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be tackling a concept that's both thought-provoking and surprisingly relevant to
Yeah.
your everyday life.
Absolutely.
We're talking about wealth.
Yes.
Who has it?
Right.
Who earns it?
Hmm.
And maybe most importantly,
Okay.
who gets to define that earning part?
I like it.
And get this.
Good.
Our entry point is a Dave Chappelle joke about the infamous Iceberg Slim.
Now, before we lose anyone who's thinking, wait, economics ain't yet a pimp? Trust me, this is way more profound than it sounds.
Right.
Iceberg Slim, for those unfamiliar, wasn't just a colorful character. He represented a system of exploitation, profiting directly
Yeah.
off the labor of others.
Exactly. Chappelle uses this bit about Iceberg's bag of money to poke at something much bigger.
Okay.
The stories we tell ourselves about success under capitalism.
And the inherent power dynamics at play.
Oh, absolutely.
The quote that sparked this whole deep dive is Chappelle saying, it was Iceberg's bag of money in the first place.
Right.
On the surface, he's talking about a specific situation.
All right.
But it gets you thinking, in any system, who really earns wealth? Is it always a direct line from hard work to riches? Or are there other factors less visible that contribute to that outcome?
Okay, so let's unpack this iceberg's bag analogy a bit.
Sure.
The traditional capitalist narrative is all about individual effort, right? You work hard, you build something, the profits are yours.
Right. But Chappelle, and in a way Slim's own life story, offer a counterpoint.
Okay.
What about the unseen labor, the people working within a system they don't control? Thinking of the folks building the product, not just the CEO who slapped their name on it.
Right.
Are those profits always deserved, or are they sometimes a result of extracting value from others' efforts?
So we're not saying every entrepreneur or wealthy person is like Iceberg Slim exploiting people directly, but it makes you wonder how much of that earned wealth is actually possible because of the way the whole system is structured. That's a bit unsettling, right?
Yeah. It is. It's unsettling because it challenges that deeply ingrained idea of the self-made person. We love those stories, the ones where someone starts with nothing and builds an empire.
Right. It's like the ultimate validation of hard work paying off. But how much of that narrative is a complete picture versus a convenient story we tell ourselves?
Exactly. The self-made myth often ignores the role of luck privilege, being born into the right circumstances or benefiting from a system built on inequities. Even if you work incredibly hard, the reality is that the starting line isn't the same for everyone.
It's like that saying, it's easier to get a loan if you don't need one. Those who already have resources often get praised for their bootstrap mentality when they started the race miles ahead.
Precisely. And these narratives are powerful. They shape how we view success, how we judge others, and even how we judge ourselves.
Have you ever felt that pressure, listeners? That push to hustle harder, work longer, even when it feels like the system is rigged?
Yeah.
It can be exhausting.
Absolutely. And this ties back to Iceberg Slim in a way. He used manipulation and control to build his wealth. Now, we're not saying every business operates that way, but think about it. Wages, benefits, job security. These are all levers that can be pulled often by those with more power in the system.
So it's less about demonizing individuals and more about recognizing those systemic power imbalances. When one side has significantly more to lose, the rules of the game rarely feel fair. It's like we're all playing Monopoly, but some people started the game already owning Boardwalk and Park Place.
Right.
Suddenly those rules don't seem so fair anymore, do they?
It makes you question the whole idea of economic mobility, doesn't it? If the system itself favors those who are already ahead, how much agency do we really have? And how do we even begin to address that?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It can feel overwhelming, like this massive, complex machine we have no control over.
It is complex. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But the first step is awareness. Recognizing these systemic issues, seeing how narratives can perpetuate inequality. That's crucial.
It's like that saying, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you start questioning that iceberg's bag idea that maybe wealth isn't always a direct result of individual effort alone, it makes you look at the world a bit differently.
And that shift in perspective, that's where the real power lies. Because if we can acknowledge that wealth is created by a system, not just individual effort, then we can start to ask ourselves, what responsibility do we have to make that system more just, more equitable?
So what started with a Dave Chappelle joke has led us to a pretty profound question. How do we create a world where everyone has a fairer shot at that bag of money, where success isn't predetermined by the circumstances you were born into?
It's a conversation we need to keep having, challenging those ingrained narratives, questioning the systems we often take for granted. That's how we start to create real change.
And on that note, listeners, we'll leave you with this. What would it take for you to feel like you have a fairer shot? What needs to shift in the system, in our narratives, in our own mindsets to create a more just and equitable economic landscape? Keep those questions brewing, keep diving deep, and we'll catch you in the next episode.